Pale Luna. In the last decade and a half, it's become infinitely easier to obtain exactly what you're looking for, by way of only a couple of keystrokes. The internet has made it all too simple to use a computer to change reality. An abundance of information is merely a search engine away, to the point of where it's hard to imagine life as any different. Yet, a generation ago, when the words streaming and torrent were meaningless save for the conventions about water, people met face-to-face to conduct software swap parties, trade games, and applications on Sharpie-labeled 5¼ floppies. Of course, most of the time the meets were a way for frugal, community-minded individuals to trade popular games like King's Quest and Maniac Mansion amongst themselves. However, a few early programming talents designed their own computer games to share amongst their circles of acquaintances, who in turn would pass it on until, if fun and well-designed enough, an independently developed game had its place in the collection of aficionados across the country. Think of it as the 80s equivalent of a viral video. Pale Luna, on the other hand, was never circulated outside the San Francisco Bay Area. All known copies have been disposed of, all computers that have ever run the game now detritus, buried underneath layers of filth and polystyrene. This fact is attributed to the number of rather abstruse design choices made by its programmer. Pale Luna was a text adventure in the vein of Zork and the Lurking Horror, at a time when said genre was swiftly going out of fashion. Upon booting the program, the player was presented with a screen almost completely blank except for the text. You're in a dark room. Moonlight shines through the window. There is gold in the corner, along with a shovel and a rope. There is a door to the east. Command? So began the game for that one writer for a long out-of-print fanzine described as enigmatic, nonsensical, and completely unplayable, as the only commands that the game would accept were pick up gold, pick up shovel, pick up rope, open door, and go east. The player was soon presented with the following. Reap your reward. Pale Luna smiles at you. You're in a forest. There are paths to the north, west, and east. Command? What quickly infuriated the few who've played the game was the confusing and buggy nature of the second screen onward. Only one of the directional decisions would be the correct one. For example, on this occasion, a command to go in a direction other than north would lead to the system freezing, requiring the operator to hard reboot the entire computer. Further, any subsequent screens seem to merely repeat the above text, with the difference being only the directions available. Worse still, the standard text adventure commands appeared to be useless. The only accepted non-movement related prompts were use gold, which caused the game to display the message, not here, use shovel, which brought up not now, and use rope, which prompted the text, you've already used this. Most who played the game progressed a couple of screens into it before becoming fed up with the constant rebooting and tossing the disc in disgust, writing off the experience as a shoddy programmed farce. However, there's one thing about the world of computers that remains true, no matter the era. Some people who use them have way too much time on their hands. A young man by the name of Michael Nevins decided to see if there was more to Pale Luna than what met the eye. 5 hours and 33 screens worth of trial and error and unplugged computer cords later, he finally managed to make the game display different text. The text in this new area read, Pale Luna smiles wide. There are no paths. Pale Luna smiles wide. The ground is soft. Pale Luna smiles wide. Here. Command? It was another hour still before Nevin stumbled upon the proper combination of phrases to make the game progress any farther. Dig hole, drop gold, then fill hole. This caused the screen to display, Congratulations, 40, 24,248, negative 121, 4,434. Upon which the game ceased to accept commands requiring the user to reboot one last time. After some deliberations, Nevins came to the conclusion that the numbers referred to the lines of latitude and longitude. The coordinates led to a point in the sprawling forest that dominated the nearby Layson Volcanic Park. As he possessed much more free time than sense, Nevins vowed to see Pale Luna through to its end. The next day, armed with a map, a compass, and a shovel, he navigated the park's trails, noting with amusement how each turn he made corresponded roughly to those he took in-game. Though he initially regretted bringing the cumbersome digging tool on a mere hunch, the path's similarity all but confirmed his suspicions that the journey would end up with him face to face with an eccentric's buried treasure. Out of breath after a tricky struggle with the coordinates, he was pleasantly surprised by a literal stumble upon a patch of uneven dirt. Shoveling as excitedly as he was, it would be an understatement to say that he was taken aback when his heavy strokes unearthed the badly decomposing head of a blonde-haired little girl. Nevins promptly reported the situation to the authorities. The girl was identified as Karen Paulson, 11, reported as missing to the San Diego Police Department a year and a half prior. Efforts were made to track down the programmer of Pale Luna, but the nearly anonymous legal gray area in which the software swapping community operates inescapably led to many dead ends. Collectors have been known to offer upwards of 6 figures to an authentic copy of the game. The rest of Karen's body was never found. That was Pale Luna. Final thoughts? Absolutely amazing. This is what this channel needs more of. Creepy and original stories. This truly stands out. This story actually reads a lot like how a story around the campfire would actually go, with the narrator simply retelling what they had heard happened. This isn't a character-based story, but a story based on a creepy idea put into a setting that fits it. We don't need to relate to Michael. We don't even really know anything about him other than his name, that he owns the game, and that he wanted to fully explore the game. There's no real villain, as the murderer has no name, is never seen, and will never know anything about it. This is essentially how to write a creepypasta without characters, per se. Just people to fill slots where people should be. I'm by no means saying that every creepypasta should be this way. Characters are obviously very important to a story. However, this is a very good piece of proof that you can do something completely different and still make it amazing. If there's anything I've learned from this month or so break from creepypasta, it's that as much as I love my forum and I love my viewers who take the time to write stories just for the show, I need to mix in stories from outside of the forum, both to keep things fresh and to give the writers on my forum more ideas. Things have been stale and samey for too long. Although the creepypasta section of my channel is no longer weekly, but instead on a I'll do it when I find a good one basis, I'm happy to say that the creepypasta readings are not ending anytime soon. Thank you for your continued support. Oh, and go in the forum and help people review some stories. We're running out of reviewers again. That's it for this creepypasta. Tune in again next time when I read yet another video game creepypasta. If you want to write your own story, help peer edit a story, or even just read the stories early, check out the description where you'll find a link to the creepypasta section of my forum. You'll also find a link to the playlist of every creepypasta reading I've done. If you're interested in keeping up with me on my blog posts, join the Facebook fan page linked below, and if you want to support me in what I do, check out my Patreon page in the description. Remember that if you want your story to be read on the show, you must stay active on your post on the forum, as well as read the forum rules. Thank you all for watching, and until next time, sweet dreams.